Evan woke up with his legs shaking. He lay still on the narrow bunk and stared at the dull metal ceiling. The lights above him hummed softly, the same sound they always made, but today the sound felt too loud. His breathing was slow, yet his body felt like it had just finished running for a long time. He tried to move his legs. They responded, but weakly. A strange feeling ran through them, like after standing too long in the cold. Evan closed his eyes and searched his memory for what happened last night. He remembered the signal room. The outpost was small, built near the edge of known space. The humans worked there with several alien species, all part of a quiet alliance. Most days were calm. Evan's job was simple. He checked systems, fixed panels, and watched data flow across screens. He liked routine. It kept his thoughts quiet. Last night was not routine. A new signal had appeared out of nowhere. It did not come from a ship or a star. It had no clear source. The Alliance leaders ordered a scan. Evan was assigned to stand inside the signal room while machines measured the field. The aliens said it was safe. The energy was weak, they said. It was only a test. Evan remembered stepping into the room. The air felt thick, like invisible hands pressing against his skin. The floor lights glowed faint blue. At first, nothing happened. Then his heart started to race. It was not fear at first. It was something deeper. A heavy feeling in his chest. His knees trembled, but he did not fall. He felt memories rise up, sharp and fast. Not clear images, but feelings. Loss, effort, long nights. Standing back up after falling down. The machines showed no danger signs. The alien observers watched calmly through the glass. Evan stood there, breathing hard, his legs shaking while something unseen moved through him. Then the signal faded. He remembered being helped back to his quarters. Someone spoke to him, but he could not remember the words. He slept without dreams, yet woke up feeling like he had lived through a lifetime. Now, lying on the bunk, Evan pushed himself upright. The shaking did not stop. He placed his feet on the floor. The metal felt cold, real. He stood slowly. His legs held him, though they trembled. He washed his face and looked at his reflection. He looked the same. Brown hair, tired eyes, thin face. Nothing looked different, but he felt different. Awake in a new way. A soft chime echoed through his room. A message appeared on the wall screen. Report to medical. He sighed and pulled on his uniform. The hallway outside was quiet. A few alien crew members moved past him. Their steps were smooth, controlled. They barely looked at him. Humans were common here, but still seen as weak by many. Evan felt that familiar thought, but it did not sting the same way today. In the medical room, a tall alien named Lyra waited. Her skin was pale silver, her eyes dark and wide. She was the outpost commander. Calm, thoughtful, always watching. "You are awake," she said. "Yes," Evan replied. His voice sounded steady, even to himself. "You experienced no pain during rest?" "No pain. Just shaking." She studied him closely. "Not dangerous. Unusual." Evan sat on the exam platform while small devices floated around him. Light scanned his body. Data flowed across a screen. "How unusual?" he asked. Lyra paused. "Your emotional centers showed activity beyond expected human limits. Fear, stress, focus, memory, response. All elevated at once." "That sounds bad," Evan said. "For most species, yes," she replied. "For humans, we are unsure." The scans ended. The devices floated away. "You may return to duty," Lyra said, "but avoid the signal room." His legs shook again, but he stayed upright. As he left, Lyra watched him with a look Evan had never seen on her face before. Concern mixed with curiosity. Later that day, Evan returned to the control deck. Screens showed space traffic and quiet stars. Everything looked normal. Too normal. A human pilot named Marek sat at a nearby station. He glanced over. "You look like you got hit by a shuttle," Marek said. "Feel like it too," Evan replied. Marek leaned closer and lowered his voice. "You were in the signal room, right?" "Yes." Marek hesitated. "I passed by it later, just outside." I felt strange for a moment, like my chest tightened. Evan looked at him sharply. "You didn't go inside." "No," Marek said. "Didn't need to." They both went quiet. An alert suddenly flashed on the main screen. A low tone filled the deck. Evan's heart jumped and his legs trembled again, stronger this time. Unknown object detected. The object was far out, barely visible. No clear shape. No known design. The alien analyst spoke quickly, their voices tense. Lyra appeared on the deck. "All stations, prepare for deeper scan," she ordered. As the scanners focused, Evan felt it again. The same heavy pressure from the signal room. His breath shortened. His hands clenched. "What is that?" Marek whispered. "I don't know," Evan said, "but it feels familiar. The object sent no message. No weapon fire. It just stayed there. Silent." Alien crews showed signs of stress. Some stepped back from their stations. Their species avoided emotional overload. It weakened them. Evan stepped forward. "I can help," he said. Lyra turned to him. "You are not cleared." "I know," Evan said, "but I think this thing is connected to the signal." Silence filled the deck. Lyra studied him again. His legs were shaking, his face pale, but his eyes were sharp. "Proceed," she said finally. Evan approached the console. As he touched it, a surge ran through him. Fear hit first, strong and cold. Then something else followed. Focus. Calm. Like standing in a storm and finding still ground inside it. Data shifted on the screen. Patterns emerged. "It's not a ship," Evan said slowly. "It's a field. Testing reactions." The alien analyst stared. "How can you tell?" one asked. Evan swallowed. His legs felt like they might give out, but he stayed standing. "Because it's asking," he said. "Not with words, with pressure." The field intensified. Several aliens cried out and backed away. Alarms sounded as systems faltered. Evan's vision blurred. Memories flooded him again. Humans running. Humans hiding. Humans standing back up. The shaking in his legs spread through his whole body. Marek grabbed his arm. "Evan, step back." Evan shook his head. "No, this is what it wants." He took another step forward. Every muscle burned. Fear screamed inside him, but he did not retreat. He accepted it, let it pass through him. The field shifted. The pressure eased. The alarms fell silent. The object in space dimmed, then vanished. The deck was quiet again. Everyone stared at Evan. He stood there, breathing hard, legs shaking so badly he had to grab the console to stay upright. Lyra approached slowly. "What did you feel?" she asked. Evan thought for a moment. "Everything," he said, and then control. Lyra looked out at the empty space where the object had been. "This changes our understanding of humans," she said quietly. Evan did not hear her clearly. His legs finally gave out and Marek caught him before he fell. As they carried him away, Evan felt the trembling continue, but beneath it was something new. A sense that whatever touched him last night was not finished, and neither was he. Evan woke in the medical bay with his legs still trembling. The feeling from the signal had not left him. Even lying down, it ran through his body, sharp and constant. Marek was there, sitting quietly, his face tense. He had been watching Evan closely since the event on the control deck. "You okay?" Marek asked. Evan shook his head slightly. "I don't know. I can't explain it. Something inside me, it moves differently now. The alien Commander Lyra entered without knocking. Her silver skin gleamed in the soft lights of the medical bay. "Your readings are stabilizing," she said, "but your neural activity is still unusual. I've never seen humans respond this way." Evan pushed himself up, ignoring the trembling in his legs. "What is unusual about it?" "You are reacting to stimuli that normally paralyze other species," Lyra said. "Oh," she gestured to the monitoring screens. "Your mind is processing the signal in ways our instruments cannot measure. Your emotions are active but controlled. You feel deeply and yet act. That combination is not expected." Marek leaned closer. "So we're stronger than we look?" "Perhaps," Lyra said, "but we don't know why. This could be dangerous. The signal may be part of something larger." Evan clenched his fists. He had felt the pressure again when the object appeared in space. It was not just a test. Something else was watching. Something that could sense humans in a way other species could not. The calm of the outpost ended suddenly. The main screen flashed red. A new object appeared near the edge of the sector, moving fast. Its design was strange, black and reflective, without any recognizable ship shape. "Unknown vessel detected," a voice said. Alien analysts called out warnings. Most froze, unsure of how to respond. Humans, however, felt instinctive tension, a mix of fear and focus. Evan's legs shook again as he stood. The tremor ran from his knees to his spine. "It's coming closer," he said. Marek touched his shoulder. "You're not going to run?" Evan shook his head. "Running doesn't help. Not now. Not with this feeling inside me. Lyra came to the deck, her expression calm but alert. All stations, report status, prepare for first contact. The unknown vessel did not fire. It hovered at the edge of detection like it was observing. Sensors showed energy readings similar to the previous signal. It was powerful, but nothing in the Alliance's databases matched it. Evan walked forward. The floor under his feet felt solid, yet shaky inside him. He knew that whatever was out there could sense fear. It was waiting to see what humans would do. "I can help," Evan said, his voice firm despite his shaking legs. "I felt it before. I know what it wants." Lyra studied him. "You are not cleared for direct action." "I am the only one who can approach this safely," Evan said. His chest rose and fell rapidly. "I felt the field. I know how humans react. We don't just freeze. We endure. We act." Marek looked at him, concern in his eyes. "Endure, yes. But what if it breaks you?" Evan smiled faintly. "If it breaks me, it only makes me human. That's the point." The alien crew exchanged worried glances. Humans rarely volunteered for dangerous situations. But Evan stepped toward the console, legs trembling so much he had to hold onto the railing. He placed his hand on the main interface. Data streamed in, shapes forming on the screen, patterns that made no sense to anyone else. Evan felt the pressure from the unknown vessel again. Cold? Sharp? Expecting something from him. Fear surged in him, stronger than before. His vision blurred, heart pounding. Memories flooded him. Humans in long-lost wars, standing alone against impossible odds. Humans building, creating, losing, and standing back up. Every tremor in his legs reminded him of every human who had ever fought, endured, and survived. "I see it now," Evan said. His voice sounded distant even to himself. "It's testing us. Not just one person. All humans. It wants to see if we can feel and still act. Not freeze, not hide." Marek's grip tightened on his arm. "Can you do it?" Evan nodded slowly. "I have to." The alien monitors showed something incredible. The unknown vessel was not just sensing his mind. It was responding to it. Evan realized that fear and focus, pain and determination were signals the vessel could read. Humans were not weak because they felt. They were unpredictable because they could act despite fear. Lyra spoke softly, almost to herself. "They have underestimated humans for too long." The vessel moved closer. It sent pulses, energy waves designed to disrupt minds. Alien crews froze in panic. Machines sputtered. Evan felt the wave hit him and his legs nearly gave out. Trembling violently, he clenched his fists, grounding himself. He focused on his fear, not to fight it, but to accept it. The wave passed, and the vessel reacted. It shifted, changed, hesitated. It had expected humans to freeze, to panic. Not to stand, not to endure. Evan took another step forward. Marek caught him. "Careful?" "I have to," Evan said. "It's responding to me." To us. Across the deck, alien analysts were silent. They watched, unable to understand what humans were doing. Humans trembled, yes, but then they moved. They acted. They endured. The vessel pulsed again. Fear, grief, and memories surged through Evan. His knees buckled, yet he stood. His legs were shaking, his whole body quivering, but he kept moving. "Humans are different," Lyra whispered. "They survive where others would fail." Evan felt something change in the field. It was no longer testing him. It was observing, measuring, learning. He realized that the tremor in his legs, the flood of feelings, was what gave him power. His fear and pain became focus. His trembling was the proof that he was still human. The unknown vessel finally paused. It hovered, silent, as if acknowledging his endurance. Evan felt a faint calm settle in him, though his legs still shook. Marek let him lean on his shoulder. "You did it," Marek said quietly. We did it." Evan looked out at the empty space where the vessel hovered. He did not know what would happen next. The tremor in his legs continued, reminding him of every human who had survived before him. Lyra approached. "This changes everything," she said. "Humans are not fragile. They are something else. Something we do not fully understand." Evan nodded, breathing hard. His body was exhausted, yet his mind was alive in a way it had never been. He realized that fear, trembling, and pain were not weaknesses. They were proof of survival, proof of life, proof that humans could endure more than any species expected. The vessel finally moved away, disappearing into the darkness of space. The crew relaxed slightly, but the memory of the event stayed with them. Humans had acted where others would have faltered. They had faced something unknown, terrifying, and had survived. Evan collapsed into a chair, still trembling. Marek sat beside him, holding his shoulders steady. "What now?" he asked. Evan smiled faintly. "We watch. We learn. And we wait." Something told me this is not over. The tremor in his legs was no longer just fear. It was anticipation, understanding, and strength. Humans were not meant to be weak. They were meant to endure. And whatever was out there, whatever had tested him, would learn that lesson soon enough. The outpost returned to cautious calm, but every human crew member felt it. The strange, unspoken bond that had formed through shared fear and endurance. Humans had faced something the universe had not expected, and they had survived. Evan looked at the stars outside the window. His legs trembled again, but this time it was different. The trembling was no longer weakness. It was proof that he had stood through something no one else could. Proof that humans, though small and fragile in appearance, carried an inner strength no signal, no alien, and no fear could break. And deep inside, Evan knew this was only the beginning. Evan stood on the observation deck, staring at the empty space where the unknown vessel had vanished. His legs trembled slightly, a reminder of the ordeal he had survived, but his mind was sharper than ever. Marek stood beside him, arms crossed, watching him closely. The alien crew moved around them silently, still cautious after the event. "It didn't attack," Marek said finally. "It just watched." Evan nodded slowly. "It's learning. It wants to understand us. Humans. Not just me." Lyra joined them, her silver eyes wide with thought. "I've never seen anything like this. Most species collapse under that kind of mental pressure. Humans endure." "You endure. Why?" Evan looked out at the stars, thinking. "Because we have no choice. Fear doesn't stop us, it reminds us. We remember what we've survived. That gives us power." Lyra shook her head slightly. "It is extraordinary. You transform emotion into action. Other species feel it, then freeze. Humans do the opposite. You act because of it." The alarms on the deck blared suddenly. A series of blips appeared on the main screen. Another fleet, larger this time, moved toward their sector. This fleet was different from the first. Organized. Silent. Deadly. "Prepare defense systems," Lyra ordered. Alien crews scrambled to their stations, but many froze again, unable to handle the rising tension. Humans moved among them, not calm, but aware. Fear sharpened their senses. Evan felt the tremor in his legs intensify. The instinct was familiar now, a companion rather than a weakness. He could feel the rhythm of human endurance in his body, echoing the memory of every human who had stood and faced danger. Marek leaned close. "Do you think we can handle this?" Evan did not answer immediately. He closed his eyes, recalling the pulse of the signal, the pressure of the unknown vessel. "We don't handle it," he said slowly. "We endure it." "That's what makes us different." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "Explain." "Other species fight what frightens them," Evan said. "They resist, freeze, or collapse. Humans remember every loss, every fear, every challenge. And still, we stand. The trembling. It's proof we feel everything, but we act anyway." The fleet drew closer. Their energy signature matched the previous unknown vessel, but was larger, more organized. It sent pulses toward the outpost, designed to disrupt minds. Alien crews cried out in panic. Machines began to fail under the stress of the waves. Evan stepped forward. His legs shook violently, but he moved anyway. Marek reached for him. "Careful. I have to," Evan said. His voice was calm, but inside his heart raced. Pressure hit him like a wall. Fear surged through his body. Memories of defeat and loss flooded him, yet he held his ground. Every tremor in his legs became part of his strength. The pulses intensified. Alien ships and crews froze in terror. Evan felt the wave pierce his mind, but he did not falter. He had survived this before. He had learned how to let fear pass through him without controlling him. He saw the fleet hesitate. It had expected panic, hesitation, or surrender. It had not expected action, endurance, focus. Evan took a step forward. His body shook violently, sweat running down his face. Marek caught his arm and steadied him, but he did not stop him. The tremor in Evan's legs spread through him, from toes to spine, yet his mind sharpened. The unknown fleet pulsed again, testing, pressing, expecting submission. Evan's mind rose above it. Every memory, every fear, every moment of humanity passed through him and strengthened him. Pain became focus. Fear became clarity. Loss became purpose. He reached the control panel and activated defensive sensors. He directed human pilots with instinctive precision. The alien crew followed orders, confused but compliant. As the humans moved with a rhythm only fear and endurance could teach, the fleet released another pulse, stronger than before. Evan's legs nearly gave out. Trembling violently, he leaned into Marek for support. The human pilots responded to his commands without hesitation. They felt the same instinct, the same endurance, the same tremor in their own limbs that reminded them they were alive and capable. Lyra watched, silent. "Is impossible," she whispered. "How can humans function under such mental assault?" Evan's eyes were fixed on the screen. The fleet faltered, unsure of the humans' reaction. Each pulse that should have broken them instead revealed their strength. Trembling, yes, but unbroken. Afraid, yes, but resolute. The enemy commander sent a communication, though no words were needed. Evan felt it in his mind, the curiosity and confusion. "Why do you not surrender?" Evan spoke aloud, though it was not the words that mattered. His stance, his trembling, his endurance told the message. Humans feel everything, and yet they act. Humans do not collapse. Humans endure. The pulse weakened. The fleet moved back, reassessing. Evan's legs were trembling violently, but he kept standing. Marek supported him, but did not allow him to sit. The human crew had responded to something deeper than fear. They had responded to life itself. Lyra moved closer. "You are not just surviving," she said softly. "You are teaching them something they do not understand. Humans are alive, in a way we cannot measure." Evan looked out at the stars, exhausted but alert. The fleet began to retreat. The pulses stopped. The outpost systems hummed back to normal. Yet the trembling in Evan's legs did not fade. It had become part of him, a reminder that he had faced something immense and survived. Marek patted his back. "You did it. We did it. Somehow we stood when others would have fallen." Evan nodded. "We stood because we must. Because we always do. That is what humans are. Not strong in the ways they expect, but unstoppable in ways they cannot understand." The alien crew remained quiet, watching him with a mix of awe and disbelief. They had seen their instruments fail, their expectations shattered, and yet the humans had acted, trembled, and endured. Evan's mind was still sharp. He knew this was only the beginning. Whatever had sent the fleet, whatever controlled the pulses, it was learning. It had seen humans act in ways the universe did not expect, and humans would continue to act, even trembling, even afraid, even facing the impossible. He turned to Marek. "Prepare the crew. This is not over. Whatever sent that fleet is still out there. And we will be ready." Marek nodded. "Ready for what?" Evan smiled faintly, though his legs still shook. "To show them what it means to be human. To feel, to tremble, and to stand anyway." The tremor in his legs was no longer just a reaction. It was proof. Proof that humans endured, proof that humans survived, proof that no fear, no loss, no pressure could stop them. Lyra watched him, understanding dawning. "You are the first humans I have seen who do not break under pressure. You do not hide from fear. You rise above it." Evan looked out at the stars. "It is what humans have always done," he said quietly. "And we will continue to do it, no matter what is out there. No matter how much our legs tremble." The outpost returned to quiet vigilance. The unknown fleet had retreated, but the impression it left was permanent. Humans had survived a test no one else could. They had endured waves designed to break minds, and they had emerged trembling, yes, but victorious. Evan sat in the observation chair, legs still shaking, Marek beside him. The alien crew moved cautiously, finally respecting the human resilience they had witnessed. And deep inside, Evan felt a new understanding. Trembling was not weakness. Trembling was life. Trembling was proof that humans, no matter how small or fragile they appeared, carried a strength the universe had never expected. And somewhere in the depths of space he knew the observers were taking note. The humans had passed the first test. But the real trial was only beginning. Evan's legs trembled once more, but he smiled faintly. He had survived. Humans had survived. And whatever came next, they would stand. Evan woke before the alarms. The trembling in his legs was lighter now, but it was still there. It never fully went away, not after what had happened. He dressed quickly and walked to the observation deck. The stars were quiet, calm, but he knew that the calm was temporary. Space never stayed quiet when humans were involved. Marek met him at the deck entrance. "Another day, another fleet?" he asked with a weak smile. Evan shook his head. though a faint smile touched his lips. No fleet yet, but something is coming. I can feel it. Lyra joined them, moving silently. Your instincts are unusual for a human, she said. Most species cannot sense a threat before it arrives. Humans, sometimes they can. You feel patterns others do not. Evan nodded. It is not instinct. It is memory. The universe leaves traces of fear, loss, and survival. Humans notice those traces. We cannot unsee what we have endured. Marek looked confused. So, what now? Do we wait? Or fight? Evan looked at the empty space beyond the observation window. We do both. We wait, but we prepare. And if it comes, we act. Trembling, afraid, but acting. The calm broke suddenly. Sensors picked up a wave of energy approaching the sector, not like before. This wave was stronger, larger. It moved like a living thing, wrapping space around it. The unknown fleet was returning, but this time it was different. It is testing us again, Evan said. His legs trembled as he stood, but he held himself steady. And this time, it is not just me. It is all of us. Lyra gestured to the control panels. Prepare for the pulse. All crews, brace for disruption. Humans, focus on your tasks. Let fear guide you, but do not let it control you. Evan placed his hand on the console. Marek mirrored him, touching the controls lightly, standing steady despite the rising tension. The alien crews looked on, uncertain, trembling themselves. The pulse hit. Energy waves spread through the outpost. Machines sparked. Alarms blared. The alien crew froze, but humans acted. Trembling legs moved. Hands gripped consoles. Eyes focused on screens. Fear became a tool, not a weapon. Evan felt the surge in his mind. It was stronger than before. Memories of failure and loss, of death and survival, flooded him. His knees buckled, but he clenched his fists and pushed forward. Every tremor in his body reminded him that he was alive, that he could endure. The fleet sent another pulse directly into the minds of humans on the deck. Alien crews screamed. Machines went offline. But Evan's mind sharpened. He felt the pulse as if it were a physical object. Guided it through himself, learning its rhythm, understanding its purpose. This is how it tests, he said, voice low but clear. It pushes fear into our minds. It wants to see if we break. We do not. Marek watched him, awe in his eyes. How can you do that? Evan looked at him, legs still trembling violently. Because we have no choice. Because we remember every time we have fallen and stood again. Every tremor is proof of survival. The fleet pulsed again, waves of energy trying to paralyze the crew. Evan stepped forward. The tremor in his legs spread to his whole body. His hands shook on the console, but he held steady. He commanded human pilots, not with words, but with instinct. Their fear mirrored his, yet they acted with precision. Lyra's voice was quiet. I do not understand. Humans should be broken by this. They should collapse. They are not broken, Evan said. They are alive. Every fear, every tremor, every memory strengthens them. This is what humans do. We endure. The fleet hesitated. It had not expected humans to act under such pressure. Its pulses tried to force submission, but humans did not submit. Trembling, yes, but they moved, coordinated, alive. Evan felt something shift inside him. The pulse was no longer an enemy. It was a measure, a test. It wanted to know how humans responded to everything at once: fear, pain, grief, and determination. He felt the collective memory of humanity pulse through him. Every step, every battle, every challenge humans had survived flowed through his trembling body. He guided the pulse, letting it pass through without breaking him. Mark and the human crew followed his rhythm, trembling as they acted, enduring as they moved. The alien crew watched, silent and stunned. The fleet sent a stronger pulse, aimed to disable minds completely. Evan's legs buckled, trembling violently. He felt the weight of humanity, of survival, pressing into him. He remembered every human who had faced impossible odds, who had fallen and risen again. Focus, he whispered. Do not stop. Tremble, yes, but do not fall. Marek held his arm, steadying him. I'm with you, he said. We all are. The human crew responded as one. Fear became clarity. Pain became purpose. Trembling became proof. The fleet faltered. It had never seen a species act like this. Evan took another step. His legs shook violently, but he moved anyway. The pulse weakened. The fleet sent signals, trying to understand the humans, to measure them. Evan felt it. They were learning from him. From all of them. The enemy paused, unsure. It had not expected endurance. It had expected collapse. Trembling, afraid. Humans did not collapse. Humans acted. Humans survived. Evan turned to Merrick. Prepare the crew. Whatever comes next, we will endure. Trembling, afraid, but ready. Merrick nodded. And if it breaks us? Evan smiled faintly, legs still trembling. Humans always do. Lyra stepped closer. This changes everything. Humans are not fragile. They are unstoppable. They act when all others falter. Evan looked at her. We act because we feel. We endure because we tremble. That is the difference. The fleet retreated slowly. Its pulses stopped. The outpost hummed back to life. The alien crew moved cautiously, still shocked. But humans had survived. They had endured the impossible. Trembling, yes, but alive and unbroken. Evan sank into a chair, legs still shaking. Marek sat beside him. The alien crew gave them space, recognizing the resilience they had witnessed. Evan looked at the stars. The trembling in his legs was no longer weakness. It was proof. Proof that humans endured, proof that humans survived, proof that humans acted when all others would fall. And deep in space, he knew the observers were taking note. Humans had passed another test. The real challenge was still ahead. Evan's legs trembled once more, but he smiled. He had survived. Humans had survived. And whatever came next, they would stand, trembling, afraid, alive, and unbroken. Evan woke with his legs still trembling, stronger than before but not gone. He dressed quickly and went to the observation deck. The stars outside were calm, but he could feel tension in the air. Something was coming. He did not know what, but his instincts told him it would be stronger than before. Marek met him at the deck entrance. You think it will attack again? He asked. His voice was low, uncertain. Evan shook his head slowly. I do not know, but it is testing us. And this time, it will not hold back. Lyra appeared behind them, her silver eyes wide. We have seen enough to know humans respond differently, but this could be dangerous. Very dangerous. Evan nodded. I know. That is why we must be ready. Trembling, afraid, but ready. The alarms blared suddenly. The unknown fleet had returned. It moved with more purpose this time, larger and more organized. Energy pulses radiated from it, reaching toward the outpost. Brace yourselves, Lyra ordered. Alien crews scrambled, their movements tense and uncertain. Humans moved too, but their fear made them sharper, not weaker. Trembling, yes, but alert. Evan felt the waves of energy hit him. His legs shook violently, knees buckling. His hands gripped the console to stay upright. The pulse attacked his mind directly, forcing memories of failure, loss, and grief into his thoughts. Each memory stabbed him like a blade. Maddox grabbed his arm. You okay? Evan's eyes were focused, even as his body trembled. Yes. I am alive. That is what matters. Trembling is proof that we are alive, that we endure. The fleet sent another pulse, stronger than before, designed to disable minds completely. Alien crews froze, machines sparked and shut down. But humans acted. Trembling, yes, but moving, thinking, coordinating. Fear became clarity, pain became purpose. Evan guided them. His mind and body connected with the human crew, sending rhythm through their actions. Trembling legs moved in step, hands pressed buttons, eyes focused on the screen. Every fear, every memory of survival strengthened their actions. Lyra watched silently, unable to understand fully. How can they function under such pressure? They should collapse. They do not collapse, Evan said, his voice low but strong. They act. Trembling, yes, but they act. The fleet pulsed again. Evan felt the surge tear through him. His legs nearly gave out. Trembling violently, he gritted his teeth. Memories of humanity's survival passed through him. Humans standing alone, building, fighting, enduring, rising after every fall. Each tremor in his legs carried that memory. Marek held him steady. Do not stop, he said. We are with you. Evan's voice was steady, though inside his heart raced. Do not stop. Tremble, feel fear, but act. That is what humans do. That is what makes us strong. The human crew followed his rhythm, trembling, afraid, yet acting. The pulse weakened as the fleet observed. It had anticipated fear would break humans. It had anticipated hesitation and collapse. But humans endured. Trembling, yes, but alive and unbroken. Evan felt the fleet shift. It hesitated, unsure. Its pulses tried to paralyze minds, but Humans acted faster, anticipating each wave, each test. Fear became instinct. Trembling became control. Pain became clarity. He stepped forward, legs shaking violently, body trembling from head to toe. "We do not fall," he said. "We rise, trembling, afraid, alive." Marek nodded beside him. "And if it breaks us?" Evan smiled faintly. "Then we rise again." Humans always do. The fleet pulsed again, this time a coordinated strike, attacking human minds directly. Many faltered. Some fell to the floor, trembling uncontrollably. Evan felt the waves pierce him. His legs gave out, knees buckling. His body shook violently. Memories of loss and failure surged, threatening to overwhelm him. But he held himself together. He let the trembling pass through him. Every fear became strength. Every memory of survival became fuel. Mind sharpened. His focus cleared. "Move," he shouted. "Do not stop. Tremble, fear, but act." The human crew responded as one. Trembling, yes, but precise. Afraid, yes, but coordinated. Every pulse that should have broken them instead strengthened their resolve. The unknown fleet faltered, unsure how to respond to a species that used fear as power. The alien crew began to act, inspired by what they saw. They followed the humans' lead, though slowly and hesitantly. Fear still gripped them, but humans showed them another way. Evan's legs trembled violently. He could feel every muscle straining. His body wanted to collapse, but his mind would not allow it. Trembling was no longer weakness. Trembling was proof. Proof that he endured. Proof that humans endured. The fleet sent one final pulse, immense, powerful, meant to end resistance. The entire outpost shook. Lights flickered. Alarms screamed. Alien crews froze completely. But Evan moved forward. He embraced the trembling in his body. He let the fear flow through him and become fuel. He guided the human crew. Trembling legs moved faster, hands pressed buttons, eyes focused sharply. The pulse hit them, but humans did not break. They endured. Trembling, yes, but unstoppable. The fleet hesitated, unsure. It had never faced a species that could act while trembling, that could feel fear and still command action. It had underestimated humans completely. Evan felt a calm settle inside him. Trembling still coursed through his body, but he was alive, alert, and ready. The human crew mirrored him. Fear and trembling became precision. Pain became clarity. Survival became power. The fleet retreated slowly, sending pulses less often, unsure how to proceed. The outpost returned to cautious calm. Humans had survived another test, and this one had been far stronger than the last. Evan sank into a chair, legs still shaking violently. Marek sat beside him, steadying him. Alien crew moved cautiously, observing the humans with a new understanding. Humans were not fragile. They were alive in a way the universe had not expected. Evan looked at the stars. Trembling still ran through his legs. It had become part of him. Proof of survival. Proof of life. Proof that humans acted when all others would have fallen. "Prepare the crew," he said to Marek. "The fleet may return, and we will stand." Trembling, afraid, but alive, unbroken. Marek nodded. Always then. Trembling, alive, and unbroken. Lyra stepped closer, silent, eyes wide with awe. "Humans are unstoppable," she whispered. "They endure when all others fail, trembling, afraid, yet acting." "That is extraordinary." Evan looked out at the stars, trembling but steady in spirit. He had survived. Humans had survived. And whatever came next, they would endure. Trembling, afraid, alive, and unbroken. The unknown observers were still out there, somewhere in space. They had seen what humans could do. They had measured the trembling, the fear, the endurance, and they would remember. Evan's legs shook once more, but he smiled faintly. He had survived. Humans had survived, and the real test, whatever it was, would come. But humanity would rise again, trembling, afraid, and unbroken. Evan woke to the soft hum of the outpost. His legs still trembled, faintly now, a constant reminder of the tests they had endured. The unknown fleet had retreated, but the tension in space remained. Something deeper waited, something that had sent the signals, the pulses, and the fleets. Marek met him at the observation deck. "Do you think they will return?" he asked. Evan shook his head slowly. "I don't know, but it does not matter. We survived." Trembling, afraid, alive, that is what matters. Lyra arrived silently, her eyes reflecting the distant stars. "The fleet's behavior is unusual. It is not aggressive anymore. It watches, learns. Perhaps it seeks understanding, not destruction. Evan studied the screen. A faint shimmer appeared at the edge of the sector, a pattern unlike anything they had seen. It was the source of the signals, the pulses, the tests, a structure, enormous, ancient, suspended in the emptiness of space. It is the source, Evan said softly, the thing that has been testing us. And now, we will know why. The outpost prepared for the journey. Humans and aliens moved cautiously. The structure was immense, dark, almost alive in its silence. Its surface pulsed faintly, echoing the tremors Evan and the others had felt. As the outpost approached, Evan felt the pressure again. Fear and excitement mingled in his chest. His legs trembled violently, knees bending slightly, but he stayed upright. He had learned to let the trembling pass through him, to use it as a measure of life. Marek touched his shoulder. Ready? Evan nodded. Trembling, afraid, alive. Let's see what this really is. They docked near the structure, small airlocks connecting them. The human crew prepared to enter. The alien crew hesitated, unsure, trembling in their own way, but following orders. Humans led the way, trembling, afraid, but moving forward. Inside, the structure was vast and empty, yet full of energy. The walls shimmered faintly, and the air felt alive. Evan's legs trembled violently, knees buckling slightly, but he moved on. Every pulse he had felt outside was here, concentrated, waiting. A voice filled the chamber. Not spoken, not alien, but inside their minds. You have endured, it said. You have felt fear, pain, and trembling. You have acted. You are alive. Evan's heart raced. Who are you? He asked aloud, though he knew it was not listening for words. We are the creators, the voice replied. Long ago we tested all species. Most failed. They could not endure. They could not act while trembling. They could not rise after fear. You have succeeded. Marek looked at Evan, trembling in his own body. They're calling us alive? Yes, Evan said softly. They recognize what we have always known. Trembling, fear, pain, they do not stop us. They are proof we endure. The structure pulsed again. Evan felt waves of memory passing through him. Humanity's survival flashed before his mind. Humans building, falling, rising, fighting impossible odds, trembling, afraid, yet unbroken. Every human who had ever survived left traces in his mind. Every tremor was proof. Lyra spoke quietly. They have studied humans for a long time. You, all of you, are what they were looking for. Evan's legs shook violently. He clenched his fists, steadying himself. Then we passed, trembling, afraid, alive, unbroken. That is our gift. That is who we are, the voice responded. You are not just survivors. You are the first species to act while trembling, to feel and endure, to rise despite fear. You are proof that life can withstand everything. The alien crew stared in awe. Machines recorded data furiously. None could measure what humans carried in their hearts. The observers, the ancient creators, had recognized something no instrument could detect. Resilience. Trembling, fear, pain, and still action. Evan looked at Marek. Our legs tremble, he said. Our hearts race. We feel fear, loss, pain, and still we move. That is humanity. That is why we endure. Marek nodded. Even if it breaks us, we rise again. The structure pulsed one last time, a soft, calm rhythm. The voice spoke again, slowly, reverently. You are what we sought. You have passed our tests, trembling, afraid, yet alive. Endurance is your gift. Evan fell to his knees, trembling violently, but he smiled. He had survived. Humans had survived. Every tremor in his legs, every pulse of fear, every memory of survival had led them here. Lyra approached. This changes everything. Humans are not fragile. They are proof of life itself. Evan looked up at her. We act when others would fall. We endure when others would collapse. Trembling, afraid, alive, and unbroken. That is who we are. The ancient structure pulsed softly, as if acknowledging him. The observers had recorded everything. They had measured fear, endurance, and action. They had learned the strength of humanity. Evan rose slowly, legs still trembling, but steady in spirit. Marek stood beside him. Alien crew followed cautiously, inspired by what they had witnessed. Humans had faced the impossible, humans had trembled and endured. Outside, the outpost floated in quiet space. The fleet that had tested them retreated, now observers rather than aggressors. Humans had shown them something no species had ever done, trembling, afraid, alive, yet unbroken. Evan looked at the stars. Trembling still ran through his legs, a constant reminder of what he had endured. He knew the universe had seen humanity's strength, not in weapons or armor, but in the courage to act despite fear. Marak placed a hand on his shoulder. "We made it," he said quietly. Evan nodded. "Yes, trembling, afraid, alive, unbroken. That is humanity, and that is proof." Lyra watched them, quiet, her expression thoughtful. "The universe will never underestimate humans again. You are not fragile. You are unstoppable." Evan smiled faintly, legs still trembling. "We endure because we must. We rise because we can. Trembling, afraid, alive, and unbroken. That is who we are. That is humanity." The ancient observers pulsed softly in acknowledgement. They had learned what humans already knew. Trembling, fear, pain, and loss were not weaknesses. They were proof of life, proof of survival, proof that humans could act when all others would falter. Evan took a deep breath. Trembling, yes, but steady in spirit. Humans had survived the test of the unknown. They had endured the impossible, and whatever came next, they would rise again. Trembling, afraid, alive, and unbroken. The structure pulsed one final time, silent now, leaving a calm that Evan could feel through every tremor in his body. He smiled faintly. Humanity had been seen, humanity had been recognized, and humanity had endured. Trembling, afraid, alive, and unbroken. And in the quiet of space, Evan knew the universe had learned the truth. Humans were not fragile. They were unstoppable.